it going? I know. Crazy hectic, right? Well, sit back and relax and welcome to the Mom and Pop Spot. Help me welcome my dad and the host of the show, St. Patrick.
Welcome to all my moms, pops, guardians, and guests. This is episode number 22 of the Mom and Pop Spot podcast. I feel like it's longer than that. I don't know. I might be wrong on the numbers, but I don't know. My co-host for today, I actually had a bugger, and I'm very privileged to have her to come on. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And my co-host, actually, before I forget, my co-host is actually on mommy duty today. She's actually up north today. Yes, but she will be back soon, so I apologize. But again, we have this incredible mom guest today. Please show love to Jessica to the show. Again, I appreciate you coming through. Like, I'm trying to get people to like see that this is actually a parent podcast. Like, it's my forum to be able to like connect, to other parents and to be able to see how good or bad I'm doing within my parent life. Like I always tell everybody, there's no rule or handbook that shows how I'm going to be a good parent, but at least we can come together to just to kind of discuss, our daily like stresses, struggles and stuff like that, and figure out like, what I necessarily need to be doing, is better. But with that being said, how are you doing from 1 to 10? Mentally, physically, emotionally?
Like an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's challenging that's going on this week, with parenting?
Well, my daughter started softball,
Right.
so it just changes everything. She hasn't played like since last season.
Yeah.
So we're starting to do that right now. So that's the hardest thing right now that we
Yeah.
have to like kind of stop doing what we're doing and then focus on her softball. So
Okay. So when they're in sports, what does your daily schedule look like?
we're just depending what days she has practice. Like right now she has practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
So I work after that.
Uh-huh.
So I guess I don't know. It's just Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's the only day, but
How are you preparing yourself in those times that you're like, man, like, okay, like I know I got baseball coming up, and on this day, what are you doing to prepare yourself?
I don't know. No, I
Yeah.
guess just get her stuff. I mean, I really don't do anything. I mean,
Uh-huh.
her dad's the one that coaches her,
Yeah.
so I'm just there, just hyping her up, and but
Right.
I really don't do anything.
Now, because you said he's a coach, is he hard on her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if she's not, throwing a certain way, or
Yeah.
say they're in a game, right? And there's another kid that's, outshining, like he's doing, phenomenal. And let's say that she has a bad game. How's dad acting?
Dad always tells her, like, I mean, he doesn't yell at her, but
Yeah.
there's times that he's like, okay, you gotta throw better. This is how you stand. This is how you throw. And
Right.
she's like, oh, okay, but I think she's at the age where she doesn't really like listens to you.
Yeah.
She's just like, whatever. It's because all the other girls are older than her.
Uh-huh.
So I think that right now she sees it like a time to like play with her friends. She
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
see it like it's a sport you have to win, and her dad wants to like
He's
win all
very
the games.
competitive.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I think she's the youngest one out of her team. So
Yeah.
she's still like in her play mode.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, that's the only thing.
So, because sometimes I'll see some videos where there'll be like some parents in the stands or whatever the case is, and then they tend to get over what is the word I'm looking for? Like they get over invested in the
Yeah.
game or in their child. Is dad the same way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
So is he more like annoying dad, or is he more
No.
of just like, okay, like,
No, he's
he's
just
just
always telling her like, okay, you gotta go be good, you gotta do good, you gotta be better than everybody else. So
yeah,
I think he pushed too much pressure on her.
yeah.
But other than that, I mean,
Because
he's good. He's good.
you've seen those videos where like there was one I was just watching this past week where the child is getting ready because the little girl was in basketball, and so the mom was like every time the child was getting ready to shoot, right before the little girl would get ready to shoot, the mom would be like air ball, and people were getting pissed off, and she's like, no, I'm training my daughter so that when she gets later on, she's already gonna know these
Yeah.
distractions.
Hey, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
to me, I'd be like, shut the fuck up, like I'm trying to shoot, like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like I'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but right now, I mean, my daughter's 8 years old. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think we're at that point yet where we have to like, but we're trying. We're trying to
Yeah.
get her good.
Where did softball come in the picture?
What do you mean?
Like who initiated that, the softball?
I think
Her?
Jaime did. Her
Oh,
dad.
okay.
Her
Yeah.
dad. Yeah.
Is it her dream or is it his dream?
Well, I think it's both.
Okay.
When my daughter was smaller, we would always go to his games.
Yeah.
He would always play softball.
Uh-huh.
So we started doing that, and then when she started getting a little bit older enough to be able to play, we
Right.
just put her in there, you know.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the only sport she played. She played soccer. She was
Uh-huh.
in gymnastics, and we just stick into softball.
Nice.
So
What is she wanting to be when she grows up?
she says all these different things. First,
Yeah.
she's like, she wants to be a doctor, and then she wants to be like a animal, something with the animals, like an animal doctor.
Yeah.
It's just depending on what week you're talking to her.
Uh-huh.
She changes it all the time.
Do you ever think back to when you were little and you're like, okay, I wanted to be this when I was growing up?
Not really.
No. Do you remember what you wanted to be when you wanted to grow
I
up?
wanted to be a nurse when I was younger,
Oh, okay.
but that never happened.
Yeah, I was all over the place. Like last week I was mentioning how I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be an undercover cop. Like I just wanted to be all kinds of things. I wanted to be a
Yeah.
musician. So yeah. And how are you encouraging her with, some of her dreams that she's wanting to be?
Well, she hasn't really said anything that she wants to do anything or anything. I mean, she's a really 8, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, I always will tell her whatever she wants. She would, if she pushes to it,
Yeah.
she'll make it. You know.
So if she wanted to be an animal doctor, like what can you do to like could you go get a sick doctor and let her operate on that dog?
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, I mean, the thing about it is that my daughter is allergic to dogs and cats.
Oh, that's funny because
So
my kids are too.
yeah, so
Yeah.
she has to, like, right now she has an allergy reaction or whatever, but
Yeah.
she needs to stay away from that. So even if she is an animal doctor, she needs to stay away from dogs and cats.
Yeah. I
Or
want to get a
reptiles or
I mean,
snakes.
yeah, there's that. I want to get a cat so bad, but my
Mm.
oldest, he's so allergic to cats. And so now I'm in this, infatuation where I want to get like a hairless cat. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
those, yeah, I've
I
seen
the
those.
Oh,
Sphinx.
those water
The-
rats.
Yeah, I think they're called Sphinx. Yeah, I want to get one, but they're so expensive.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so I've been thinking about doing that. And then I wanted to ask, are you okay with the term mom bods?
No.
No? What offends you about it?
Well, I don't even know what it actually means.
So like dad bods mean, pretty much where they have like the little like, tire or whatever the case is. Mom bod has that look of, where they just had, a baby or whatever the case
Okay.
is. So, I mean, are you okay with that term? We had asked some moms last week and they were just like, yeah, like, we're okay. We don't have no problem with it. But I know a lot of times when that term is used, people tend to like get offended because they're just like, oh, that's not me. And it's like, you should
Yeah.
encourage that. Like, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing to say, that you have this, not necessarily is it more of a look, it's just more of the feel, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
And do you ever think that hurts the image of a mother with the term mom bod?
Not really. I mean, I
'Cause to
don't.
me,
I
it
never
shouldn't.
heard of that before.
Yeah.
But as you're talking about it, like, it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing. Like, you know.
It shouldn't. It
Yeah.
shouldn't. But today's society is we're all pressed on, a certain look, a certain image, a certain, perception of the way that we're supposed to be. And I would love to go back to some of those old characteristics and just like let a mother be a mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stop trying to fixate this certain idea and everything else.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? But before we continue, we're gonna take a quick potty break. But before we do, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe to this channel, and share this video for support. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So I wanted to ask, what's your secret to parenting?
I don't know. I guess you have to be nice to the kids. I don't know. I mean, I only have one child, so it's not really that hard to like,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know, I just be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice to your
So
kid.
because sometimes we think about like, oh, they're our only child, they're gonna have like a certain like, attitude or a certain way. Do you ever think, because the fact that like you grew up in a big family,
Yeah.
does that ever change the way that you were brought up to the way that you're raising her?
No. I
Yeah.
mean, my parents always gave me everything I wanted,
Uh-huh.
and that's why I try to always give my daughter everything she wants, but then at the time she has this attitude
Yeah.
and kind of makes me not want to give her anything.
Right.
So that's the only thing we're struggling right now is just she's old enough to know when to say no, when to say yes.
Yeah.
So now she uses no more. So that's the current
Who's
hard
the
thing.
who's the good cop, bad cop, and
I'm
within?
the good one and her dad's the bad one.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, that's kind
I'm
of
the nice parent.
yeah, that's usually the way it falls back.
Yeah.
What is, because the fact that he's playing like, in a sense, a bad cop. Does she still have her way around dad?
No.
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 Oh, so he's like
Oh no,
puts down and that's
yeah,
it.
when she knows, like when she wants to get away with something, she always comes to me because she knows I will say yes.
Oh,
She
okay.
always asks me, Mom, can I have ice cream? Can I have this? Can I have that? I'm like, okay, let's go get it. And
Yeah.
her dad, when she says no, it's a no.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
she knows.
Yeah, that's interesting because the fact that a lot of times you hear where these little girls are able to be like, the dad's like firm. Okay, this is
No.
what I'm set to. But then they still have their way to be like, okay, like they'll ask a second time or
Yeah.
they'll do certain things, and the dad's like, okay, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They have that soft spot, whatever the case is, but like in this case, no.
No.
That is crazy. And then do you consider yourself a cool mom,
Yeah.
to your kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Very
what are
cool.
what are you doing in regards to, holding to being able to be like a cool mom?
I don't know. I guess I always talk to her. I'm
Yeah.
always more like I will always ask her, "Hey, well, how's school today?" Whenever I pick
Right.
her up from school, and then she tells me her whole school day. And then when every day after practice, I'm like, "How was practice?" When I'm not there.
Yeah.
So she talks to me. I mean, I always try to talk to her. I don't want her to think that I'm not there to for whatever reason she needs to talk
Right.
to me for.
I always try to figure that out with my kids because I'm always trying to figure out like, okay, like am I the cool dad? Am I like the annoying dad? And I think it's all over the place. So like with my kids, sometimes they're just like, oh, you're so annoying. Like, why are you talking to me? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like we'll be out on the street and I'll run into people and they'll be like, oh, your dad's this, your dad's that. And then all of a sudden you can see that little like that motivation. You're like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? All of a sudden they want to talk to you. I'm like, where you
I don't
at
want to talk
5
to you.
minutes ago? Yeah. Like you didn't have that same energy 5 minutes ago.
Somebody asked, "Is Patrick the bad cop?"
Um, honestly, I'm kind of good cop, bad cop. Um, and actually, I would say my wife is the same. We don't really have. I'm not strict. You know what I mean, they kind
No,
of like
you're the nice one then. I see
kind
you more
of
of a nice one.
yeah, kind of like mom is more of like don't push me kind of
Yeah.
thing. And with me, it's just because the fact that like I think the burden within me is the fact that like I allow my history and my past to reflect on the way my kids are being brought up.
Yeah.
And that's a double-edged sword, in a sense, because the fact that like sometimes they get away with some stuff and sometimes they don't because the fact that I overanalyze some things, where it shouldn't. You know what I mean? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, yeah, it does.
Yeah. And I hope that made sense to the person that asked that too.
Yeah,
What are
he's right here.
Oh, okay. What are some of the things your kids are stressing about these days?
Nothing. I'm guessing just softball. I
Yeah.
mean, it's because she's at the point where all the other girls, they're older. They're
Right.
11 years old, and my
Yeah.
daughter's barely 8. She's gonna be 9 this month, but it's gonna be like 2 more weeks till she's 9. And so they're gonna jump into another like what is it called? Like other group.
Right.
And so my daughter's gonna not be with them,
Oh,
'cause
okay.
she doesn't play as good as them, so
Yeah.
she can't be in that level yet.
Uh-huh.
So we told her, we're like, hey, that's gonna be the difference. And she's like, okay. So that's the only thing that she struggles right now, that she's trying so hard to play better,
Yeah.
to get better for their like to play as good as them. So she
Yeah.
could move with them. But I think that's the only thing she's dealing with. I mean, other than school, but
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
are
she's in
some of
third
the
grade. I don't think it should be
Yeah.
that hard.
But what does she struggle about like with school though?
I don't think she struggled nothing with school. I mean, she
No?
hasn't said anything about school.
Oh, okay.
The only thing, I mean, is just math. You know, she's always getting math homework,
Yeah.
but struggle. She's a smart girl.
She's pretty good, yeah.
She's good.
Yeah, the struggling thing with me lately, even mentioned last week. I started taking a couple of L's within parenthood because it's just like with my oldest kid, like he struggles with trying to adapt and to be able to make friends. But he likes to be able to make friends with everybody. But a lot of times people don't like that. Kids in his school don't
Yeah.
like that. And then with my middle one, he struggles to pay attention, and even past the point, like he gets very like lazy.
The middle
And
child.
yes.
Okay.
And then my youngest, I struggle with him because of the fact that he don't respect no one's stuff. Like it's his house and that's it. Everybody just lives here. You
That's
know what I mean?
cute.
Yeah. So it's a struggle sometimes.
Yeah. Especially having 3 kids. I only have 1, and I mean, with 1 kid, whatever you're doing is just I'm focused on her. And with 3
Right.
kids, I mean, you have to be focused on all of them. So I think it's more harder having more kids than 1, I think.
Yeah. So I
So,
did want to ask, because the fact that you have an only child, do you ever get a ton of people that are constantly bugging you to have other kids?
yeah, when my daughter was younger,
Yeah.
everybody was asking me, like, "Hey, when's the second child?" I'm like, "I'm not having no more kids. She's it. I'm not
Yeah.
having no more kids." So, I mean, I kinda did tell everybody, "I'm not having no more," so I can't s they just stopped asking me, but when she
So
was younger.
with that being said, because the fact that like I myself would ask every time I knew someone had one child, I'm always like pushing, the question. But
Why
then,
though?
but see, here's the thing. Here's where I was going in with it. Because the fact that like kids are beautiful. It's a beautiful blessing. They're they're the sour patch kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're the sour and then they're also the sweet. But with that being said, I had a good conversation with a good friend of mine, and then she was telling me, she was like, like we just can't have another child.
Yeah.
Like we're just, that's the only reason why we tell everybody we're only gonna have one child. And so I'm like, shit, I'm over here being rude because the fact that I'm not thinking about that part. I'm just
Yeah.
asking like, oh, like, like cause everybody has that ability to.
Yeah.
They struggle to have that one and they can't. And her and the husband and everything else, beautiful people and everything else, they're just like, we just can't. We
Yeah.
even thought about adopting, whatever the case is. And it made me think, I'm like, I'm over here, pushing this question. So I stopped doing that from that point on.
Yeah.
And then there was another one too. One of my other friends was just like, one is good enough with me because the
Yeah.
fact that she wasn't with the baby daddy and she didn't want to create another child with someone different and then to create this
True.
whole, ensemble.
Yeah.
Um, so I was just saying, I got myself in this point where I stopped asking people because
Yeah.
it's for one, it's not my business.
Yeah.
Because the fact that I think it's a beautiful thing, that's on them.
Yeah.
Stop, trying to, push something that, we don't know what the situation
Yeah.
is. So with that being said, what are you doing so that way people aren't necessarily like bugging you to, okay, like,
I just tell them, like, I'm not having no more kids. If they ask me again, I'll be like, I'm not having no more kids. I
yeah,
mean, everybody knows I'm only gonna have Juliana. I'm not gonna have no more other kids. So,
yeah,
I mean, nobody really asked me. I mean, when she was smaller, people would ask me, "Hey, are you gonna have another kid?" I'm like, "No, that's it. I'm only having one."
yeah.
But
So when she gets older, are you then at that point, if she's, let's say she doesn't want any kids or she wants one kid or whatever the case is, are you then, what's your narrative that you're going to have with her?
I'm fine with her having 3, 5 kids. It doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as she's happy and she can afford it,
Uh-huh.
then she could have 10, 20 kids if she wants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, and then what is a parent like yourself doing, when you're home alone?
clean,
Like what's your leisure
wash.
activity?
I just I just clean.
Yeah.
I cook. Just the normal things. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't work, so I'm just at home waiting for my daughter to get out of school. Then I go pick her up,
Yeah.
come back home, and then start making food for the night.
Yeah, because I know with my wife, when she's home alone, she just likes her coffee break and just, watching, TV,
Yeah. By herself
by
or
herself.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't even really know if she really gets time to herself because our house is crazy with kids all the time,
Yeah.
with the baby, and then we got the 2 older ones. And then for me, if I'm home alone, I'm on YouTube. I'm literally just on the couch, just watching you. I'm totally zoning out. I'm not worrying about anything else. And then if I'm not doing that, then I'm, focusing on trying to create these different episodes, trying to figure out like what good content can I create for people to actually watch. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um, I would love to hear your opinion on these topics. So, in the midst of the pandemic, parents grew afraid of the vaccine and decided to get the shot. There was a hold on children getting the shot, And at the time when it became available, they decided not to give the shot to the child. They had done substantial research and didn't feel it to be safe. The outside friends and family had shamed the parents for not giving the shot to the child. What do you say to those who may be parent shaming, you know, whether they be for or against
Well, what kind of shot are you talking
the
about? Are you talking
vaccine?
okay, like COVID? Like
Yeah, like
okay.
COVID. Yeah,
Well, as of me, like my daughter, I'm not we're not planning to give it to her just
yeah,
because she has allergies and asthma and all that stuff.
right.
So I just prefer not to give it to her. But me and my husband have it, you
Yeah,
know? We have all three shots, we have everything. So I don't know, it's just depending on the kids. But as of my kid, I don't think I'm ever gonna give it to her just because of that reason, just because she's always like sick because of her allergies, you
right.
know?
Yeah,
But other than that, I mean, I don't think the shots is bad. I mean, I got it,
yeah.
so
And see, the thing is like one thing that annoys me is us as parents, not me in this situation, but most in situations, because the fact that parents love to get in other parents' business. They
yeah,
love to tell you what you should be doing with your own child.
yeah,
I'm like, at the end of the day, we all want what's best for our child. You know what I mean? No one's telling out, trying to go out there and be like, some evil plan or whatever the case is they want for their kids. So
yeah.
I think it's crazy. It's just my own opinion. What about this situation? A mother was in a store when her little son had to use a restroom. She didn't feel safe to allow him to use a restroom on his own, so she took him. She took the child in with her to use a women's restroom. There wasn't no unisex or family restroom that was available. So while she was in there, she was verbally attacked as a woman stated, "Little boys shouldn't be in the restroom with women," potentially exposing him. If you were to come across this situation, what would you do?
I mean, I've seen it where a parent would bring a little kid, but I
Uh
mean,
huh.
he was a little kid. I haven't
Right.
seen like an older kid in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind having a little kid, but I mean, if the little kid's like 13, 14 years old, and it's a
Right.
boy, I mean, that's kind of weird having
Yeah.
him being in a girl's bathroom. I mean, I wouldn't say anything, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just kind of weird.
I
I
think
mean,
in
if they're
this case,
little, I
yeah, I
mean,
think
they're
in this case,
little.
the little boy would had been like 5 years old, something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Then
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, they're little. I don't think they have the mindset to even think of nothing bad about it.
Yeah, like my middle one, he's not thinking about girls
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's just like it's crazy. And because of the society that we live in, there's so many perverts out there.
Yeah.
If there's no unisex, if there's no family restrooms, take the little boy in there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
you got to make sure that you're protecting your child at
Yeah.
all costs because there's so many different weirdos out there.
Yep.
The mom that verbally attacked the other mom, she should have been punched in the mouth.
Yeah. She
Um
should.
just kidding. I shouldn't promote violence, and I'm not. But that was uncalled for, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can understand if like sometimes like if there's no unisex or family restrooms and like I have to use a restroom. And then like my mom's like, "Well, you can use the women's restroom." And I'm like, "Nah, cuz like I'm a little old. I'm 38." You know what I mean? I think it's a little weird, but
Yeah, that is weird.
yeah. Here's another situation. This couple is out having dinner when they overhear another family coming out and explaining to their 11-year-old little girl about their divorce. The little girl asked if it was because of her when the father says, "No, but having kids didn't help the marriage." The mother then decided to dad shame when the two became in a very combative and argumentative conversation. My question to you is, what are you saying to this child if you had a moment with him, with this, this little girl? Um, and if you're able to talk to her, who, no one believes, she's not at fault. You know what I mean? It's not her
Yeah.
fault. What are you saying, to this little girl?
I mean, just tell her that people have they decide to be separate, you know? They don't have to a lot of people don't get married and be together forever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work out. So if it didn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah. And depending on the age of the little person, of the little, girl, um, sometimes they might understand, sometimes they might not. But I think if you give them some context, it might help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
true.
because even me, myself, like I was in a situation where, my parents, they got divorced at an early age. And I've seen, on both sides where they've had, partners that came in the situation and just, some are good, some are bad.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have anybody that actually came and said, okay, like here's the situation or kind of understood or be able to add empathy.
Yeah.
But I think if they did it, I think it would have helped. You know what I mean?
So you had a problem like with their divorce when you were younger?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just know the fact that like because I think what didn't help was the fact that they've had all these people come in their relationship, because sometimes they were
Yeah.
like, say one parent had someone that came in the picture, and I barely even knew them before they were gone. You know what I mean? And I think at that point, I feel like my own opinion, if whatever parents are doing out there, that's on them. But for me, speaking on based on my own opinion, I felt like if that was the case, if they didn't think that a relationship was going to be that long, they should have not brought them in to meet the child.
Yeah. True.
You know what I mean? Because and then it created this confusion and this havoc within my own world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then a lot of times too, not necessarily playing the sexist role, whatever the case is. I think it also depicts the role of the parent. If a mom is having different multiple men coming in the relationship, or if it's the father having different multiple females that are coming in the picture, it might change the visuals for that child. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does.
Yeah.
That's true though.
Yeah. And then staying on that same topic, how are you addressing anything to these parents? Are you, or you just feel like it's kind of not my business?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's not. I mean, everybody parents different,
But
everybody.
if they're making it everybody's business, let's say in a restaurant or whatever the case is, like they're making it known that they're going through this divorce. They've already announced to this child that, not necessarily was it the child's fault, but because of the fact that they had this child, it, didn't help the situation. You see this kid that's distraught, you know what I mean? You see this family that's, arguing, making a big scene. You wouldn't put yourself in that situation.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
I felt like I would.
No, because I mean, I don't know them personally, so I don't know the whole story. What if you know half of the story, but you don't know the other half? What if you just only know the parents, the dad side? You don't know the
Uh-huh.
mom side. So I can't really say anything. I mean, other than like my sister or my mom or something going through that, then I couldn't know because I know the whole story.
Yeah.
But as a parent, like at a restaurant, like I don't know how they're living. I don't know how the kid is. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's different.
I think I would leave the personal stuff that they had going on outside of the picture and just kind of just mention to them like, hey, like I understand you guys are going through a rough situation, but like stop making it everybody's business. Figure
Yeah.
out what you guys need to figure out between the two of you. Leave the child out of it. Leave half the restaurant, because we're trying to get drunk. You know what I mean? We're trying to like
We're trying to eat.
yeah, we're trying to eat in peace. We're not trying to hear about everybody's problems and stuff.
Nobody's gonna know.
Oh.
And you know what that means. It's now time for the No, the O, and the Lab. It's where this and every show we give out a random hack, fun fact, and message or joke. Today's hack. Do you have random toys and kids' objects lying, like dinosaurs, bath toys, and not sure how to clean them all at once? Well, wait no longer. Grab a big bag, a washing bag, and put those objects in there. Put it in for the delicate cycle, and in no time, your kids will have them. They'll have the toys collecting dirt like once before. Have you ever tried to do something like that?
No. I
Yeah.
usually throw her toys away.
Oh, okay. But if there's some toys where she really likes or whatever the case is, and it won't get ruined with water, throw them in the big. Have you seen those washer bags,
Yeah.
like the
yeah.
nets or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, throw them in there, throw in a delicate cycle, and then it'll clean it. You gotta worry about that.
But like
Yeah.
you're talking about like plastic
Yeah,
toys, not
yeah.
like teddy
More
bears
so,
or
yeah. I mean, even
Okay.
teddy bears you can do it unless it's like a Build-A-Bear, then you couldn't.
Okay.
But if like Legos, you can do that.
Oh.
I don't know about bath toys though, because I assume the water's gonna get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna create that mold. So I don't know about that one. And the message. Toddlers mimic everything you do, good or bad. So watch what you do or say around them. Teach them good things. Watching you do chores around the house, how you love your partner, or treat the dog, or using your manners and how you treat those around you. Kids are quick to pick up on the bad habits like eating stuff off the floor, acting out in unnecessary temper tantrums, eating sweets when it isn't dessert time, or not picking up after themselves. Thinking about that, have you thought about the good and bad habits that you guys are doing at home?
No.
How are so let me ask you, how are you and dad treating each other at home in front of your little one?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't disrespect each other in front of her.
Yeah. So, does he, because of the fact that that's just how he treats you just in general, or is he trying to create a certain thing for her so that way she knows how a man or a person is supposed to treat her in a relationship?
I think it's just that's how he treats me. I don't think he treats me any different just because
Yeah.
my child is in front of us. I think he just treats me the same.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What about bad habits?
Bad habits.
Yeah, like the baby eats off the floor. Sometimes I'd eat off the floor off of him too, depending if I've been drinking. You know what I mean?
The only thing is just my daughter, she's a hoarder. She hoards everything. Like her room is full of papers. She likes to draw.
Yeah.
So instead of like drawing and throw it away or drawing or something, no, she has to keep everything. And it's all
Oh.
in this desk and like it's piles
Oh,
and
that is
piles.
funny.
Yes.
That's my
And it's
middle
just
one.
everywhere. And I always tell her, like, okay, it's time to clean your desk. And so she's like, okay, I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah.
And so I'll make food or whatever. And so I come back in an hour. It's the same way. She's watching TV. She's on the phone.
Yep, that's my middle one.
Her game. And yeah, she doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
So I have to go in there and clean for her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that. That's my middle one. Like I'm trying to get him the one that I was saying that,
Yeah.
at time he could be lazy. But now we're getting on the ball where we're starting to get him to start to clean because I tell him if it's not clean, if it's left out, I tell him that I'm gonna throw it away.
Yeah.
And I do throw it away.
You
know what I mean?
do?
Yeah. I
Have
do.
you thrown stuff away that he knows?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me correct myself. For the most part, I do. I know if I spent a lot of money on it, or
You're not.
I'm not. Yeah, I'll go hide it, whatever the case is. Or I do open threats, which I know it's not good. So don't tell me about it, whatever the case is. Open threats are bad, but sometimes I'll just be like, yeah, like I'm gonna check it. Like the paperwork that he has shoved. Like I did a deep cleaning for him last weekend, and actually we're supposed to do it again this weekend. And I tell him like if it's left out, I'm throwing it away because if you can't respect it and
Yeah,
if you
that's-
can't
yep.
take the priority to put it away, it's mine. I'm throwing it away.
Yeah, that's exactly what I tell my daughter. But my daughter, I don't know, she literally has everything. It's not even just paper, it's everything. Like if she goes to like McDonald's, when she gets like a Happy Meal,
Yeah,
she gets them toys. And sometimes the toys I throw them away. I'm like, seriously, again?
yeah.
And she loves to like decorate her desk with those toys. It's like, why you have those toys, the same toy like 10
Yeah,
times?
10
Like,
times over.
why?
Yeah. I'm the same way too because the fact that like, well, kind of. So we kind of created this collecting thing with my middle one. We do the Disney cars.
Okay.
And so he probably has 100 different Lightning McQueens.
Oh, dang.
Yes, but he gets so infatuated because the fact that it's like, oh, this one actually has like something different about it, whatever the case is. And sometimes I'm just like, let's just chuck it. He's like, no, it's different. And he'll actually point it out and be like, okay, this is why it's different, whatever the case is. But yeah, I understand the whole hoarding thing.
Yeah, she's bad. But my daughter's really a bad hoarder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to rectify it later on?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying. Like seriously, like every week, I try to get her like a bag, and I'm like, throw your stuff in here, whatever you don't want, just so we could kind of clean it. Just it could be like a habit,
Yeah.
And literally, I give her a bag, and there's like 2 little papers in there. Like that's
Oh,
all
that's
she throws
funny.
away. So she doesn't throw anything away. She doesn't want to. She keeps everything. So it's harder on me. But I try to like every week to be like, hey, today is clean day. Let's try. Every Sunday I try to clean her room.
Yeah.
So
And what about dad? What is dad doing?
for her room,
Yeah.
I mean nothing.
No, he doesn't clean it or
No, he
whatever.
doesn't. No,
It doesn't bother him.
it doesn't bother him. It bothers me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then going back too, because I'm just thinking about because I forgot to add dad into the picture. But what about good and bad habits?
I don't know. Um,
So one thing that I try to do as far as I'm thinking about that one thing that I don't necessarily do that's a bad habit is like I won't drink in front of them. Kind of. Like I'm just not just drinking for fun at home. If I do, it's because usually we have company. I'm more social with drinking and everything else. I just won't just open up a beer and just hang out
yeah.
if I know that they're present. That's one of the things that I do. I'm trying to think of
No,
other
I don't.
other things. The one bad habit though that I do create that kind of mentioned, in regards to, about toddlers mimicking is I'm very open with them. I don't baby talk to them at all. So whatever I talk to them like little adults. But at the same extent, even when I'm driving or whatever the case is, if I cuss a lot, you know what I mean? I'm very open with them. And at times that ends up biting me in the butt because sometimes they'll be
They
like,
cuss too.
they don't necessarily cuss, but they use certain words I don't like. I use negative words, you know what I mean?
My daughter, she doesn't say ass. She
Yeah.
says ASS,
Oh,
and
that's funny.
it's so funny. Like just hearing her mom What is that? Is that ASS? Like, it's just so funny just to listen to her.
Yeah.
But that's the only bad word she knows. She knows bad words, so she doesn't say
I know a lot.
Yeah.
I know a
I'm
lot
pretty
of
sure
them.
you do. I don't even know if you're old enough to say them.
I mean, I'm about to turn 18 next week, so
Yeah. What are bad habits that you've had, Jimmy?
what do you mean?
Like what are good bad habits that you've had growing up?
Still to this day, I procrastinate. I'm such a bad procrastinator.
Yeah.
Like there'll be like, especially like when it comes to like laundry or stuff like that. I suck at doing my own laundry.
Yeah.
Like I have to like I'm the type I wait till like everything gets all backed up,
Right.
and I'm like, you know what, it's about that time. Or it's like if I know I got to go buy something, and I'm like, no, buy something else that's like less important.
The 7-second rule. You got to read that. It's a really good book. It's by Mel Robbins, and she says if you're a big procrastinator, use a 7-second rule, which means that like, say you're waking up in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed, jump out of bed, and then once you're up, you're like, okay, I'm ready up. It's just changing your mindset. You know what I mean? There's a couple other books too that are really good. That changes your mindset. Make Your Bed, I think, is another one. I can't remember who. It's a sergeant that actually wrote that book. That one's a good one. And The Joke. When I was at the store, my wife told me to grab 6 cans of Sprite. Have you heard this one?
No.
She got upset. She told me to grab 6 cans of Sprite, but when I got home, I realized I grabbed 7 Up. Yeah. And as we wrap up this show, I want to give a huge shout out to today's guest, Jessica. There we go. Thank you. I know I've been bugging you for a minute to come on the show, but for the viewers out there, tell them, was this as bad as you thought it was?
No, it wasn't bad. It's just at first I was all nervous because I didn't know what it was, what you even asked me. So that's why
Yeah.
I was kind of like,
Yeah,
but no, it's good.
I try not to make it personal so people don't feel like. I think that's so. There's a few things that I think that people get turned off on. They think that I'm gonna ask them questions that they're gonna have to answer that might have people judge them in a sense. The second thing is the fact that they're just not sure how it looks in here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that was my thing. Like I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah, and then the third thing is the fact that like I don't know, maybe they just don't want to come on.
Yeah.
But I wish that they would kind of like just be okay, like just tell me straight out. Don't make excuses. Like I have one girl who literally makes excuses. She's like, oh, I want to go on, and then I get hyped on it. So then I reach out to her, and then she gives me like a different excuse, and then I'm like, I get hard on myself because I'm always telling myself like stop reaching out to her, like stop asking her because she doesn't want to go on. Otherwise, she wouldn't be giving you all these excuses. But what is one thing? Because you've watched the show before, right?
Yes.
What is one thing I should or could be doing to make the show better? To make it presentable to where you can watch it and you want to watch it time in, time out?
I mean, nothing, because you usually have like 2 people, right?
Right,
So I
yeah.
mean, I think that's the only thing, is just having more people there, so it could be more like a talkative thing. It was
Yeah.
just not just 2 people.
Yeah.
So I think more having more people, but then again, how would they fit here?
Yeah.
So, I mean, having like more people, more like a conversation instead of just like you and
Like an
another person.
interview style.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing too that a good friend of mine told me. She's like, don't make it an interview, make it a conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out, to change the approach in a sense a little bit. That's why I started adding my own tidbits, my own, personal experiences and everything else. Cause I don't want it just to feel like where I'm just asking them.
Yeah.
It's more of like
See,
a
that's a
group
good
discussion.
part. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Do you watch podcasts?
Not really.
No.
I'm always on YouTube though.
Yeah, well, so am I, and that's the reason why I love this, this platform, because the fact that I'm able to give people an actual visual versus just having to sit there and listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can show them, what the show looks like and everything else. So yeah, that was it. Do you want to plug anything? You want to mention anything?
No.
Actually, yeah, let's plug Jaime's business.
Oh, he does a car wash.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, he just does it like a what is it called, like a mobile car wash.
Yeah.
I started doing eyelashes too.
Nice.
Yeah, so but
blink your eyes for me. Oh, girl, there goes those eyelashes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Where can they get the eyelashes done at?
I do it at my house right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
You want to plug it or
I've
not
been
yet?
in just in Instagram. I have Lashed by Jessica.
Lash by Jessica. Okay. How do you spell that out so that way they know exactly how to follow it?
Lashed LASHEDDD, and then the little line on the bottom. What's
Uh-huh.
it called?
Yeah. Underscore.
Underscore,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then by Jessica, and then Jessica has 3 A's.
Okay. I'll add it too when I do the video so that way they can see it. They'll be able to, just click on the actual link itself. So we got the car wash, the detail.
The detail.
We got the lashes. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. At any point, you ever want to come back, you ever want to push something, you don't want to come back on, but you want to push something, use me as a revolving door, as
Okay.
just another option, because I'm trying to like just be able to be here for the community, to be able to offer a parents a platform, to be able to offer social awareness and justices, and bringing awareness, that a platform. And I just want to be able to just to give just another resource and another entertainment for people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And as always, Mr. Habari Live himself, Mr. Dip. And Jimmy. There you go. It's because he got on my case last time because I wasn't loud enough. So, and Elijah, Wealth for Generations Lee. Please like and follow Habari Live Podcast, Habari Entertainment, and One Love on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated and make it a great day. And we're out.